The winner is Tom Gamble.
'18 McLaren Autosport BRDC Young Driver Award winner Tom Gamble tested an F1 car at Silverstone with McLaren recently. This marks the end of a 3-decade-long partnership of McLaren and Autosport and the BRDC, with a new award partner for 2019. We caught up with Gamble and McLaren behind the scenes to find out his thoughts before and after the test and what McLaren's thoughts were on how it went.
They're really excited to get going. Obviously, for me, new experience driving a Formula 1 car. Not many people can say they've done that, so it's going to be really cool. It's one of them days, you don't really need to impress anyone, but as a driver, you kind of want to give it everything. So I'm going to be, obviously going for it as much as I can. The main thing for me probably today will be, my neck. Obviously, the G-forces that they use pull are pretty crazy. So, for me, I've been training a bit on my neck and just trying to do as much of that as possible. And obviously, a massive thanks to McLaren for giving me this opportunity to test the F1 car. It's going to be really good, and obviously BRDC as well for the track, organising everything as they always do, and obviously Autosport as well for all their help and helping me out this year. Obviously giving me a DTM test as well a few weeks ago thanks to Autosport, so they've been really helpful as well, and it's been massive support from everyone this year, so it's really good.
Amelia Lewis has managed young driver tests for the last few years. So what is it like to get the opportunity to manage a team early in your career at McLaren?
It was just ridiculous. To be able to given that opportunity at 25 to run an F1 car, it just doesn't happen. And I think it's kind of something that you aspire to and you kind of dream about, but to be given that opportunity so early in my career was just huge.
And how did she find Tom's run at Silverstone?
I was so impressed with Tom in the test today. It was so great to see. I think I kind of felt a little bit of pressure and responsibility with being a judge on the award last year. You're so desperate for him to do well, and for him to come out and do that, it was just so great to see. And I think, we weren't necessarily looking for a lap time or anything like that. It's kind of just that consistent improving run after run, lap after lap, and his ability to take on board that information and go out there and keep delivering. Yeah, I think to be involved in McLaren Autosport BRDC Award was fantastic because you've seen how much history it's got. And I think as well, giving the opportunity, kind of like the first step for these guys who have worked so hard and maybe haven't had this opportunity before. I think that was something which was really important to me, is kind of being able to help encourage the next generation coming through.
Also, we caught up with Mark Temple, Fernando Alonso's former race engineer. He's now principal car performance engineer, and we asked him for his insight on what exactly the team look for in a driver.
So what we're looking for from a young driver testing a Formula One car with McLaren for the first time is obviously how fast they are, but it's not just that, it's how they improve through the course of the runs that they do. You want to see that when they drive the car, they understand what they're doing and feel what the car's doing and make improvements every lap. But then also when they get out of the car and you go through with them what they've done, you want to see how well they take on that feedback and then implement what you've told them. So for example, it's a big step up in how you brake in a Formula One car compared to other formulae, and it's quite a difficult thing to learn, but you want to see the driver really take that on board and put it into practice.
We grabbed Tom straight after jumping out of the car to see what he made of it.
What's your initial reaction after that? I mean, obviously it's breaking down into runs, so have you had time to process any of it? Or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, obviously I got out and looked through some data and stuff, but yeah, it's such a good car.
Yeah.
Like everything about, you know, the speed's phenomenal, the braking, the aerodynamics. It's awesome. You know, when there's like, I saw the inboard, I went fast. I was like, I might just keep going and see what they say. But no, it's so good. It's such a good car, and obviously massive thanks to McLaren for giving me the opportunity. No, really enjoyed it.
Don't blame you. And obviously you've done some sim work for this day. Has that helped a lot in terms of
definitely
turn the key?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of one of the things you go out and then you kind of in your own little kind of world when you do your first run, and you kind of get used to it all, and then as it kind of slows down a bit and you kind of become a bit more familiar with it all, that's when the simulator helps quite a lot. You know, for example, like the brake and you know, and the speeds you can carry through the fast stuff. It's it definitely helps a lot, and no, it's quite interesting actually how, you know, kind of fairly similar to the work. Obviously you're never going to get it identical, but no, it definitely helps.
Yeah, and then what's been the biggest thing? People saying sort of the braking, then getting the balance to turn in, and sort of obviously just putting your faith that the car will respond.
Yeah, I mean that was it. You know, through the high speed stuff I felt fairly comfortable really, but it was just like the little kind of technique for the slow stuff that was like the interesting thing. You know, the braking, like I said, how hard you can hit it initially, it's crazy. You know, obviously you've got big brakes and a lot of air, and you kind of feel the whole car like sit into the ground almost and stick to it. And it was just kind of getting used to that, because obviously with what I've been doing this year, it's a completely different braking technique. So kind of getting back into the swing of that was interesting, but yeah, it was really good fun. I really enjoyed it, and obviously as well you get the feeling of the wind as well on the straight. That was interesting. Obviously it's not really windy today, but there's a bit of wind. But obviously the speed you go into Stowe, for example, you know, it's kind of like blowing your face around. You're trying to keep it all still, but no, it's really good.
Yeah, excellent. And what are the tyres like? Are they obviously like, it was very distinctive then that you're doing quick lap, cool down lap, quick lap? Is that all just to bring the tyres back into it? So are they tricky?
Yeah, there was a bit. I mean, most tyres are like that, to be fair. I mean, we're just trying to maximise the run that we've got, and obviously the tyre, like I say, they just kind of wear out fairly fast. So if you kind of have a cool off and then go at it again, and just let all the temperatures come down on the tyres, and you know, let the engine cool down and everything, and then just go for it again, then it tends to help. And obviously it wasn't quite as good as it was in that initial kind of first lap, but it never is going to be. But you know, it's as good as really. You know, I'd love to jump in one of these again one day, but. Yeah, that's why the award's such a good thing, you know, because it gives opportunities for drivers, you know, like myself, to kind of have a blast in them.
The test signals the last steps of the partnership between McLaren and Autosport and the BRDC, with Autosport and the BRDC continuing with a new title partner for 2019. Kevin Turner, editor of Autosport magazine, looks back on a successful partnership and what the legacy of McLaren's involvement has been over the last 3 decades.
McLaren has been an absolutely core part of the McLaren Autosport BRDC Award. McLaren boss Ron Dennis is one of the founding members of the award back in 1989, and since then they've provided probably the highlight for the winners, which is a run in a Formula One car. And in many cases it's been those drivers' first opportunity to drive a Formula One car. It's also been pretty successful over the 3 decades in terms of the winners. Most notably 2009 world champion Jenson Button, but there have been plenty of other successful drivers come through. Dario Franchitti, Anthony Davidson, Lando Norris, George Russell. It really is a very impressive list, and even the ones that haven't made it to Formula One, most of them have gone on to have successful professional careers elsewhere in the sport. The award wouldn't exist without McLaren, and we're very grateful for their participation over what must be an unprecedented amount of time for a young driver programme.